可能性まだまだあります。そして、長橋輪島港では津波観測中ですが、5メートルの津波が予想されています。とにかく命を守る行動をとってください。今すぐ高い場所に避難してください。輪島の今街中では大きな炎が上がっています。先ほど最初よりも広がってきています。輪島市の朝市が右下なんですけれども、朝市からほど近くの場所に大きな炎が上がっている様子が見られます。輪島では震度6強を観測しました。鹿町で震度7を観測していますが、北陸電力によりますと、今のところモニターなどに異常はなく、放射線の異常もない、被害者はない、物損などの被害は調査中だという情報が入ってきています。鹿町で震度7を観測しましたが、今のところ、異常などは確認されていない、調査中だということです。そして現在、河合町、本町建物火災が起きています。輪島市の、ご覧いただいている河合町、本町で建物火災が非常に炎が広がってきています。横に炎が広がってきています。朝市からほど近くの河合町、本町で建物火災が奥能登広域消防本部によりますと入ってきています。そして現在、大津波警報が発表されています。大津波警報が発表されていますので危険です。今すぐ海から離れて高い場所に、できるだけ高い場所に避難してください。5メートルの津波が予想されています。こちらは地震発生当時の、輪島内の様子です。地震発生当時、2回目の大きな地震、午後4時10分の地震発生当時の輪島市内の様子です。現在、能登地方に大津波警報が発表されています。非常に強い揺れが観測されました。輪島では震度6強。カメラが非常に横揺れを観測した様子がわかります。地震発生当時の輪島市内の様子です。現在、輪島市内、火災も起きています。そして地震発生当時のこちらは珠洲市内の様子です。現在、大津波警報が能登地方に発表されています。地震発生当時、珠洲では震度6強を観測していますが、こちらも非常に大きな横揺れが観測されたことがわかります。大津波警報が能登地方に発表されています。今すぐ高い場所に避難するようにしてください。そして輪島市内では火災が発表されています。大津波警報が石川県に発表されています。今すぐ高い場所に避難してください。命を守る行動をとってください。予想されている波の高さは5メートルです。大津波警報が発表されています。東日本大震災以来の大津波警報が石川県に発表されています。今すぐ命を守る行動をとってください。予想される、波の高さ5メートルです。今すぐ高い場所に逃げてください。そして、輪島市内では現在、大きな炎が上がっている様子が確認されています。こちらは朝市からほど近い、輪島市の、河合町、炎がどんどん広がってきています。輪島では震度6強を観測しました。河合町の本町です。建物火災が起きています。非常に大きな火災が起きています。大きな炎が上がっています。石川県
We are announcing the arriving of a huge tsunami. We are calling for the inhabitants or the residents to keep safe of
避難する
themselves
ようにしてください。
and first find a place
大津波警報が
where
発
the
表されて
height
います。そしてこちら
is
は
in
午後4時
yeah
10分、
where the
鹿
height is
町で
going to
震度
keep them
7が
safe.
観測された地震
And
発生当
starting
時の
from
珠
this
洲市内の
morning,
様
a
子です。
magnitude
地震発生当時の珠
7.4
洲市内、
earthquake
こちら
was
も、揺れが強
hitting
かったこ
the
とが、カメ
eastern
ラは固
part
定さ
of
れてい
Japan.
ますけれ
We
ど
could
も、よく
hear
見られます。
and we could
現
also
在、大
witness
津波警報
the
が発表されています。そしてこちらは輪島市の、
earthquakes is
河合町で
shaking the
の、
ground.
風
And
の様子。
we are also going to, we are seeing from the footage, we are also witnessing a
現
very
在、
huge
輪島市の
fire
河合町、本
occurring
町で大
on
きな
the
炎が上がっています。火災
Massy
が起きていま
street
す。
of
奥能登
Massy
広域消防
city.
本部によりますと、現在建物火災が河合
According
町
to
本
the
町で起きてお
Center
り、その
of
範囲
the
はどんど
information
ん
in
広がってき
Japan,
ています。
we
この天
believe
気カメラからわか
the
る
scope
範囲
of
が
the
どんどん広がっ
tsunami
てきてい
is
ます。
expanding
そして大
gradually.
津波警報が能登地方に発表されています。予想される
And
津波の
we
高さ
are
は
also
5メー
seeing
トル
a
です。
huge
今すぐ
warning
高
for
い場
the
所に
big
避難して
scale
く
of
だ
the
さい。
tsunami.
大
We are
津波警報
calling
が
for the
石
local
川県能
residents
登
to
地方に
find
発
a
表されていま
place
す。
of height
珠洲市
to
の
hide
灘
themselves
橋輪
and
島
keep
港
themselves
七尾
safe.
港で現在津波到達
And we
中
are
か
also
と見られていま
calling
す。輪島
for
港では午後4時
the
21
local
分に
residents
1.2メート
in
ル
the
の津
different
波が観測され
prefectures,
ましたが、現在
including
また到
the
達中かと見られています。
Ishikawa
5メー
Prefecture,
トルの津波が予想されてい
Kanakake
ますが、
Prefectures,
実際に
as
は
well
これよ
as
り
Niigata
高い津波
Prefecture
が
and
来る可能
Fukushima
性が大いに考えられます。
Prefecture
今
to
すぐ高い場所に避難して
look
ください。
forward to
命を
find some
守
of
る
the
行動をとって
places
ください。
where
そ
the
し
ground
て
is
志
higher.
古町の道路では地割れが起きている
And
という情報
we are
が入ってきて
also
います。
have some of the latest
震度7を
information
観
that
測し
this
た
is the
志
ground
賀町で道
situation.
路の
This is the
地
root
割れが起きている
situation
という
of the
情報が
Nishigawa
入ってきていま
Prefecture.
す。こちらの
This is
映像がそ
indicating
の
that the
志賀
tsunami
町
is
なんでしょうか。
arriving
大きな
very
亀裂が
quickly.
入っています。
These
道
are
路が割れ
the
ているという情報、震度
aftershocks
7を観測
affected
した
by
志
the
賀町の現在の
magnitude
道路の
7.4
現在ではありませんが、悪い
earthquake.
時間で
This
すけ
is
れど
the
も、
current
亀裂が入って
situation
いま
of
す。
the local routes.
震度7を観測して
So
い
we
ま
would
すの
say
で、
that
こういった
this
亀裂
is a
が
very
町内
severe
至るとこ
earthquake
ろに、そ
occurring
し
in
て
the
町内
city.
だけではなく、能登地方
And
至ると
it's
ころに
not
発生している
only
可能性が非
affecting
常に
the
高いです。
nodal areas of
ま
the
た今
Ishikawa
入ってきた情
prefecture.
報です。能
And
登
this
電
is the
力、
latest
能登
information.
北陸電力によります
According
と、
to the
志賀原発
Tokyo
現在1号機、
electricity,
2号機ともに運転を停止していますが、今のところ異
the
常は見られて
tsunami
い
is
ないということ
arriving
です。
at a
震度
speed
7を
of
観測した
1
志賀町
kilometers
ですが、志
per
賀原発に
hour.
今のところ異常は見られていません。
And we are trying
そし
to
て大津
locate
波警報が
or
発表さ
find
れています。
any
命を守る行動をとってください。能登地方に大津波警報が発表
abnormal
されています。
situations
危険です。
occurring
今
alongside
すぐ
the
海から
power
離れてく
stations
ださい。
in
大津
order
波警
to
報が発表され
prevent
ています。
any
予
potential
想され
fire
る波の
desert.
高さは
So we are
5メ
calling
ートルで
for
す。
all the
大津波警
Japanese
報が発表さ
citizens
れています。予想
living
される
alongside the
波の高
coastal
さ、
line
珠洲
to
市、
find the
灘
high
橋、輪
areas
島
to
港、
protect
七尾港
themselves.
ともに
And
5
we are
メー
also
トルの
looking
津波が
see
予想されて
to
います。
say that
今すぐ
the
高台に
in
逃
the
げてくだ
city
さい。
areas of the
道
saddle,
路が非
we
常に危険
believe
な状況になっている可能性が
the
高い
route
で
is
す。また
becoming
落ちて
quite
くるものな
dangerous
どに
and
注
we are
意し
not
たり、亀
calling
裂
for
な
the
どに注意
citizens
しながら、
to
足元に注意
find
しなが
a
ら
safe
避難
place
を続けてくださ
alongside
い。
the route.
できるだけ高い場所に避難するようにしてくださ
Please
い。こ
find
ちら
the
は
highest
地震発
point
生当時の
nearby.
これ金沢のテレビ金沢の様子です。
And
テレビ金
this
沢
is the
があ
local
る金
television
沢市では
station's
午後4
footage
時10
after
分
the
に
occurring of the
5強を
earthquake.
観測しています。非常に強い揺れ、私もいまし
And
た
we
けれ
could
ども、
also
1分
see
ほど
there is a
横揺
very
れを感
huge
じました。
shocks
非常に
from the
強い揺れ
ground.
でした。恐怖を感じるような揺れでした。現在、能登地方に大津波警報が発
And
表されていま
according
す。
to the
命を
latest
守る行動を
information
と
of
っ
the
てくだ
nodal
さい。
areas
5メートルの
alongside
津
the
波が予想
Ishikawa
されています。
prefectures,
5メート
we
ルの津
are
波が予想され
predicting
ています。
a
今す
tsunami
ぐ高い
of
場
the
所に逃げてくだ
height
さい。
of 5
5
meters
メートルの津
is
波が予想されてい
arriving
ます。能登
alongside
地
the
方で
coastal
5メートル
line.
の津波が予想されています。こちらは地
5
震発生当
meters
時の
height
志賀
of the
原発
tsunami.
の様子です。
This
志賀
is
原
what
発
is
によります
happening
と、
on the
今のと
site.
ころ1号機、2号機ともに、運転は停止しています。そして異常は
Currently,
確認され
the
ていないという
Tokyo
ことで
Power
す。
Station's
志賀町で震度7を
Ishikawa
観測した時の
substation
地震
has
発生当時の
suspended
映
their
像をご覧いただい
operations
ていま
in the
す。
number 1
今のと
tower
ころ
and
1
number
号機、
2
2号
tower.
機とも
This
に
is
異
the
常は確認され
footage
てい
from
ない
the
ということ
site.
です。揺れが大
We
き
are
すぎ
calling
て
for
も
the
うカメラ
citizens
が
to
固定
keep
さ
a
れていない
distance
ほどの大き
from
な揺れ
this
だったこ
power
とがわかり
station.
ます。現在、能登地方で大津波警報が発表されています。危険です。
We are
危
predicting
険
that
で
there
す。
is a
大津波警
huge
報が発表されてい
tsunami
ます。
occurring
津
in
波
the
が
nodal
5メート
area
ルの高さが予想
of
されています。津波現在到達中と
Ishikawa
見られています。
Prefecture.
到達中と見ら
A
れています。
5-meter tsunami
高い場
is
所に避難して
arriving.
ください。足元に注意しな
Local
がら高い
residents
場所
and
に避難
citizens,
してくだ
please
さい。
find the
そして
highest
輪島
point
市内で
nearby
は
to hide
街中
yourself.
で火災が起きている様子が今見られています。
This is what is
輪島市の
happening
河合
in the
町
local
本
prefecture
町で
in the Majima
大きな
city,
炎が上が
where
ってい
a
ます。
huge
今から
fire
20
breaks
分ほ
out
ど前からでしょう
because of
か。
the
大き
earthquake.
な炎が上がっている様子が見られます。
There's also a high
こちら
possibility for
輪
the
島
citizens
市
to
では
witness
大
such
き
a
な火
higher
災が起
firework
きている様子
occurring.
が見られています。輪島市河合
This is the local streets situation in the Majima city.
建物火災が発生しています。そして大津波警報が発表されています。
We are also calling for a huge. We are also forecasting a very huge tsunami arriving on its way. The highest height of this tsunami could be 5 meters, arriving at the Ishikawa prefecture.
火災の様子が入ってきています。河合町、本町で起きている火災の様子です。
This is the situation. This is a fire occurred in the Kawaii city, in the middle of the street. This is the severest fire occurred in the latest report, and this fire is also occurred due to the earthquakes aftershocks. And the local earthquake's magnitude is around 6.7. This is the live streaming from the Kauai city, and this is a huge fire hitting the local street. Since 16 p.m. this afternoon, a magnitude of 6.7 earthquake hit the Wajima city, causing the fire. We could also see the smoke is spreading and puffing into the air. These are something that we didn't expect before. So we are calling for the citizens or the residents in the city to wrap up their things and try to find a safe place before the arriving of the tsunami, because when the air becomes dark, when the sky becomes dark, there's not going to be any possibilities for them to keep themselves, and we are predicting a 5-meter tsunami is on its way. Right now, in the city of Nishikawa, it is very dangerous. Please find a safe place. And in the local city of Nishitsuma, there is a shower. There's a power breakdown, so that we cannot have the footage of the local city. This is actually the local fire. Since a few moments ago, the fire occurred, and this is the footage that we have been taken through the helicopters and the drones. In the major street and in the backward street, there is also a prediction on the forecast that a huge tsunami is on its way. For the local citizens, please find the place with the highest point to hide themselves. This is the local city's fire disaster occurred after the earthquake. On 4 p.m. this afternoon, a magnitude of 6.7 earthquake hit the city and shakes the city. And we are predicting a 5 meters height of the tsunami is on its way. And we are calling for the local citizens to find the higher areas to hide themselves. This is the footage of Nagahashi City when the earthquake occurred. This is the footage when the earthquake occurred in the Majima City on the 10:04 this afternoon. The local city then spreading the alarms of the earthquakes, and we are predicting a 5-meter tsunami on its way. We are calling for the local citizens to find some of the high place to hide themselves. This is a situation, this is an area when the fire occurred. And we could also see the situations of the fire. And just a moment ago, from the footage sent from the helicopters, we could also see a huge blast of the fires. We are not sure what is happening on the site. This is the footage that we got from the Minishima city. We are calling for the local citizens to find the safe place. to find some of the high places in order to protect themselves. And we are predicting a 5 meters tsunami is on its way. And trying to find the place away from the coastal area and as high as possible. We are predicting a magnitude of 6.7 earthquake occurring in the city. And the local roofs is becoming scattered and splattered like what we are seeing on the footage. There's also a huge possibility for the earthquake to occur. In the middle of the city of Wajima, the earthquake and prevention control measures is coming into its way. We are also calling for the local citizens to keep as much as distance possible from the coastal areas and find the higher places. We are predicting that this tsunami could reach a height of 5 meters. And we are also announcing an alarm for the tsunami of the severest scales after the earthquake, which is occurred at 10:04 this afternoon. And after that first hit of the earthquake, several aftershocks hit several different cities. This is a very dangerous time. We are calling for the local citizens to get away from the coastal areas, find the high places as much as possible, and do not spend the night in your own home. And if there is a possibility, please speak out louder and also bring some of the electricity charges as well as the suits or the emergency keys in order to get away from the tonight's tsunami and also tonight's possible tsunami as well as the aftershocks. We are predicting that there are some of the aftershocks as well as the tsunami hitting the coastal area. This is a fire occurred in the Nishima city after the earthquake. We are also announcing a huge tsunami alarm on its way. We believe at 5 p.m. this afternoon, there is going to be a huge tsunami of 5 meters height arriving on the coastal area in the Ishikawa prefecture. We are calling for the local citizens to pack up your things and get away from your home, find the high places to spend tonight. Do not stay indoors. These are some of the footages about the people who these are some of the footages of the local citizens and local residents. We believe a magnitude of 6.7 earthquake is hitting the Ishikawa city. And according to the prediction of Japanese Meteorological Bureau, a huge tsunami is on its way. And we are also calling for the local citizens that we have made this prediction of a huge tsunami, the height of 5 meters on its way. That's the reason why we are calling for the local citizens to get away from your home, find some of the high places and temporary shelters tonight. Do not stay indoors. These are some of the footages that we are taking on the site, where the local citizens are gathered in the convenience stores in order to find some of the instant foods. But we are still calling for the local citizens to find some of the high places. And for those who are living near the coastal area, please keep a distance from the coastal area, especially from the sea, because a 5 meter magnitude, a 5 meters height of the tsunami is on its way. This is the latest information from the Suzuki city. According to the information of the local residents,
ところどころで陥没が見られてどこに行けばいいかわからない、とりあえず高い場所に避
the
難している
local
という情報が
inhabitants
入っ
don't
てきていま
know
す。
where
すで
should
に
they
津
go.
波で車が流
If
さ
the
れたと
tsunami
い
is
う珠洲市内の
hated the
住民
local
の
areas,
方
they are
の
not
情報
sure
が今入ってきています。
which is
津
the
波が
high
到達中で
places
す。
that they
津
could
波が
hide
到達
themselves
中です。
when the
地
tsunami
震
is
発生当時の
arriving
輪
tonight.
島市内の様子です。こちらの輪島港、
This
津
is
波は
what
到
was
達中と
occurring
見ら
on the
れています。
Majima city when
満
the
潮時刻
earthquake
が近づいてきて
shocked
います。
the
石
whole
川県能
city.
登地方、大津波警
This
報
is
が
the
発表さ
local
れています。
footage where the
できるだ
earthquake
け
rocked the
高い場
whole
所に避
city.
難してください。
And
満
we are
潮
calling
時
for the
刻
local
が近
citizens,
づいてきています。あ
please
と1時
try
間半ほ
to
ど後
find
が
the high
満潮
places
時
to
刻で
hide
す。
themselves.
輪
To
島
try
港で
to
は
find
満
the
潮
high
時刻
places
午後
for
7時
tonight.
47分です。
Because we believe
輪島
at
市内
7
の
p.m.
午後5
tonight, a
時
huge
半頃の避難する人たち
tsunami
の
is
様子です。この輪島市
arriving
で
on
は
the coastal
午後
area
4
of
時10
Nishikawa.
分に震度6強を観測しています。輪島港では満潮時刻午後7時47分で津波5メートルの高さが予想されていますけれども、この満潮が近づいてきているとい
We
うこと
are
もあり、さ
predicting
らに高い
that
津波が
at
来る可能性があります。
7 p.m. tonight,
そして
there's
明日の
going
朝
to
氷
be
点
a
下2度
5
が予想されてい
meters
ます。非常に
tsunami arriving on the
寒くなるこ
coastal
とが予想さ
area
れてい
of
ます。
Honshu.
皆
That's
さ
the
ん、な
reason
るべく
why we are
暖か
calling
く
for the local
する
citizens
ようにしてください。また
alongside
海
the
に近く
coastal
の方、
area of
もう
Honshu.
とにかく
Please
と
leave
にか
you
くですね、
home
高い場
and
所に
find
今
some of
す
the
ぐ避
high
難するようにし
places.
てください。満潮時刻が近づいてきています。大津波警報が発表されています。予想され
We
る津
are
波の高さ
announcing
は5メート
the
ルで、現在
alarm
到
for a
達中
5
です。
meter
現在
tsunami
津波が
tonight.
到達中です。できるだ
Currently,
け
the
今自分
tsunami
が
is
い
on
る
its
高
way,
い場所に避難するように
and
して
we
く
are
ださい。
calling for the
海の
local
近くの方、
residents
高
and
い場所に避
citizens.
難するようにして
Please
くださ
find
い。
some of
そし
the
てそれ
high
ほど近く
places
がないなと思っている
to
方、
hide yourselves
津波
tonight
想像以上
because
に
we are
想像以
predicting
上
and we
に
are
深くまで来る
estimating
可能
that
性があります。
there is a
皆
huge
さん、できるだけ
possibility
高
that
い場所に避難するよう
the
にしてください。命を
tsunami
守
is
る
going to
行動をと
arriving
って
at
ください。
7 p.m.
珠洲
tonight,
市で
and
は
we
す
are
でに
calling
津
for the
波が
local
津
citizens
波で
to
車
keep
が
a
流され
distance
たと
from
い
the
う情
coastal
報が入ってき
area
ています。
to
津
get on
波
top of the
で
door
車
and
が流
also
さ
find
れた
some of
とい
the
う情
high
報も入ってき
places.
ています。 5
And
メー
we
トルの
are
津波
still
が予想されてい
having
ま
the
す
latest
が、それ
information
より
about the
も
possible
高
tsunami
い
that
津
is
波が来
arriving
る可能
tonight.
性もあ
We
り
are
ます。
predicting the tsunami is going
現
to
在、
arrive at
珠洲市
7
内です
p.m.
が、停
tonight.
電も起きています。大津波
And
警
there
報
is
が
also
発
a
表されてい
huge
ます。
power
できる
breakout
だけ高い
occurred
場所
in
に
the
避難す
city
る
of
ようにしてください。
Ishikawa. That's the reason why we could
現在、
not
珠洲市
have
内で
any
も停電
footage
が起きてい
from the
ます。
local prefecture.
大津波警報が発表されています。命を守る
We
行動
are
をとってくだ
also
さい。
calling for the
珠洲市
we
内
are
の様子
also
です。現
predicting
在、
a very
停電
huge
が起きています。
tsunami.
北陸電力によりますと、午後5時20
According to
分
the
現在、
Japanese
およ
National
そ3万
Electoral
2500個の停電が発
City
生しています。
Electoral Company,
現在、午後5時20分現在、
there
停
is a
電がお
power
よそ今日までで
breakout
3万
occurring in the
2500個
Ishikawa
発生していま
city.
す。こちらは羽咋市の室内の様子です。地
This
震によっ
is
て
what is
家
happening
の
in
中
the
がこのよう
Hakui
に
city.
物が散乱している状態となっています。
Everything in the home is scattered on the ground after the
物
earthquake.
が散らかっている様子が確認できます。
These are some of the footages of the local citizens' home. That's the
震
reason
度
why
7 を
we are
観測
calling
した
for
鹿
the
町ですと
citizens
か、その
to
他
get
長
away
岡
of your
島
homes
など
and
の
find
ところ
some
の
of
広い
the
範囲でこう
find
停電
some of
と
the
なってい
ground
るこ
like
とが
this.
考えられます。そして
And
鹿
please
町で
consider
は
the
現
situation
在
of the
避難
about
する
the
人たち
upcoming
の
tsunami.
車が集まっている様子が映っています。
And here it
鹿
is
町で
a
は
high
震度
place
7
where
を最
all
大震度
the
7を観測
cars
しました。
are
そして
gathered.
輪島市内の様子ですけれど
And
も、
in the city
河合
area of
町本
Majima
町で今
City,
火災が起こっています。
the
もう
fire is
40
occurring.
分ほど前からこちらのカメラ
At
では確認できておりますけれども、火災
and
が
our
起きてい
footage
ま
is
す。
actually confirming
そ
that
して今ちょっと大きく
we are
また
seeing
な
an
りましたでしょう
explosion
か。一瞬ピ
occurring
カ
on
ッ
the
と
fire
大きく
site
炎が
of
燃え
the
上がっている様子が映っています。
Nikawa
火
city.
災ずっと燃え続けています。40分から50
The
分ほど
fire
前から
keeps
こちらの
burning
カメラでは確認
And there are some of the explosions, one after another. We are also announcing a prediction of a huge tsunami occurring in the northern area. We are predicting a 5-meter tsunami occurring in this area.
改めて地震についてお伝えしますけれども、午後4
We
時か
want
ら5時
to
の間に繰り
give
返
you the
し
latest
地震
information
が起きま
about
し
the
た。
earthquake.
そのうち午後4時10分に起きた地震では鹿町で震度7を観測しています。そして能登地
We
方で
think the
大津波警
magnitude
報が発表さ
a
れています。
magnitude
能登地方で大
6.7
津波警報
earthquake
が
was
発表され、午
occurring
後4
in
時
the
21分
Chikamati
に輪
city
島港で
at
1.2 メートル以
4
上の津波がまず観
9,
測されましたけれども、その後
9
2
past
波
4 this
3波も
afternoon.
来る可能性もあります。そして現在到
We are
達中
calling
と
for the
見られ
local
ています。
citizens
七尾港で
to
は高
get
さ
away
観
from your
測中
home
だと
and
いうこ
find
とで
some
す。
high
予
places
想され
for
る津波
tonight.
の高さですけれども5メートルの津波が予想されています。まだ大津
We are
波警報は
predicting a
出ています。
tsunami
解
of
除され
5
るまで
meters
は
height.
とにかく高い場所に避難するようにしてく
And
だ
we
さ
are
い。
calling for the local
今すぐ
citizens
自分
to
が行ける
find
できる
some
だ
of
け
the
高い場所に避難
high
するようにしてくだ
places
さい。
to
特に
hide
こちらは
for
一
tonight.
番大きかった午後4時10分の地震、震度7を観
These
測
are
した
the
のが鹿
magnitudes of
町、
the earth
鹿町加納、
occurs
震度
after
6
this
を観測し
afternoon.
たのが
At
七尾市、輪
4
島市、
p.m.
河合
this
町、
afternoon,
三崎
a
町、
magnitude
珠
of
洲市、正
7
院町、
earthquake
大谷
occurred
町、
in these
荒水
areas,
町、
and it's
大
also
町などと
affecting
なっ
the
ています。
local prefectures,
気象庁によりま
including
す
the
と午後
Iga
4時10
prefectures,
分ごろ、
the
鹿
Nongdo
町で最大
prefectures,
震度7を
and
観測
for
する
these
地震があ
areas,
り、
they
そ
have
して大津
experienced
波
the
警報が発表
magnitude
されています。
6
能登地方に
above
大津波
6
警報が発表され
earthquake
ています。
occurring in
危
this
険です
area.
ので今すぐ逃げて
So
くださ
we
い。
are
能登
also
地方の
calling
方、
for
沿
the
岸の方
local
危険ですの
citizens
で今す
to
ぐできるだけ
uh,
高い場所に避
because
難す
the
るようにしてく
situation
ださ
is
い。
quite
ただ
dangerous.
停
That's the
電
reason
も多
why
く
we are
起きてい
calling
ます。
for the local
足
citizens
元
and
真っ暗で、
residents
そして道
to
路に亀裂
find
が入ってい
the
ると
high
いう情
places
報も複数入
before
ってき
the
ておりま
street
すの
is
で、
becoming
足元
darker
など携
as
帯電話など
the
で
night
照らし
is
ながらできるだ
calming
け
and
怪我をし
please
ない
wrap
よ
up
う
your
に
things
高い場所に
and do
避難
not
するよう
stay
にしてください。
indoors
能
for
登地方
tonight.
の沿岸の方、できるだけ高い場所に避難するようにしてください。
And
そ
we
して
are
輪島
also
市、河合
calling for the
町、
local
本町では
residents in the
火災
Nodo
が起きていま
area.
す。
Please
50
find the
分
high
ほど前から
places
こちらでも
for
確認が来
tonight
ています。大きな火災
and
が、
making
炎が
sure
上がっていて、輪島市、河合町、本町では火
since the
災が
fire
起き
is
ています。
breaking out.
そして停電が現在、北陸電力によりますと午後
And
5時
according
20
to
分
the
現在、お
latest
よそ
information from the National
32,500 戸の
Power
停電が
Bureau
発生してい
in
ます。
Japan,
発生してい
the
るのは金
power
沢市でおよ
breakout
そ
is also
830
occurring in
戸、
the
七
several
尾市でお
different
よそ
prefectures, which
2,300
is
戸、輪
heavily
島市では
affected by the
1万戸以
tsunami and
上の
earthquake
停
tonight.
電が起きているということです。珠洲市では
There are
8,100
several
戸
different
な
cities
ど
witnessing
停
the
電
power
が多数
breakout.
起きています。北陸電力によりますと午後5時20
And
分
according
現
to the
在、およ
latest
そ
information of
32,500 戸の停
National
電が発生しており、
Power Bureau,
一番多く発生しているのが輪島市で1万戸以上発生しています。そして
there are
携帯キャリア
the
各社によると
heaviest
伝
affected
言板を
area
立
in
ち
the,
上げている
is
という
in
こ
the
とですの
Majima
で、
city,
今停電が起
where
きていますので、
over
その伝言板
10,000
を利用
households
する
has
方
suffered
など、
from the
家族と
power
連絡を
breakout
取るときに
today.
この携帯キャリア各社の災害
And
伝
we
言
are
板
also
のサー
calling
ビス
for the
を利用
local
すること
citizens,
もできます。
please bring
現
your
在、県内
telephone
で
and
3万
charge your
2,500
telephone,
戸の停電が発生
charge
していま
your
す。
phones, smartphones
最
as
大震
much
度
as
7を観
possible.
測する地震により大津波
We
警
are
報が能登地
predicting
方
a
で発表されてい
magnitude
ま
of
す。満
7.7
潮の時刻
earthquake
が近づ
occurring
いてきてい
alongside
ま
the
す。
coastal
大
line.
津波警報で5メートルの津波が予想されます。
The
5メート
5
ルの津波
meters
が予想されていま
tsunami
す。今すぐできるだ
means
け高い場所に
that
避難するようにしてください。
we are
満
calling
潮
for
時
the
刻をお
local
伝えしま
citizens
す
to
と、
find the
珠洲
high
市
places
長橋では午後7時49分、輪島港で午後7時
and the
47
7
分、
p.m.
七尾
this
港では
afternoon.
午後7時40分が満潮時刻です。5メートル
I
の津波
believe
の
it
高
is
さ
for
going
the
to be. We
evacuation,
predicted
maybe,
that
but
this is
we want to hear more about that. Could you please tell more about that? Because we've now seen live pictures there as the Ishikama prefecture. Okay, it seems that we have lost the connection with Wondam, but we will try to bring her back later in our program to bring the latest on the situation in Japan. Now let's move to the US. So please stay with us. On CGTN, we will keep you updated on the situation in Japan. Now let's move to the US. The Anchorage, the largest city in the US state of
予想されています。今すぐ能登地方の沿岸の方はできるだけ高い場所に避難するようにしてください。車が津波で流されたという情報 報、現在緊急地震速報がまた発表されました。緊急地震速報
And this is the emergency situation. And there is also going to be several different rounds of the aftershocks after the earthquake. That's the reason why we are calling for the local citizens to find some of the safe places. And we are calling for the local citizens to find some of the safe places and please bring some of the warm clothes with you, since we are not sure what is going to happen tonight. And we are announcing a national emergency information for the Nodo areas in the Ishikawa prefectures. Local citizens and local residents, please be away from anything that is possible to be collapsed and find some of the pillows or find anything that could protect your heads. And please find anything that could protect your heads. This is the press conference. We are testing the microphone. We are about to start the conference.
はい、令和
Please.
6年1月1日16時10分頃の石川県の土地
In
方の地
the
震について説
1st
明
of the
します。
January 2024, a magnitude of the 7.4 earthquake is occurring on the north coastal point area, and
大
we
きな津
are
波を観測中です。
spreading
沿
this
岸部や
press
川沿いにいる
conference
人
from
は
the
すぐ
nodal
に高い
areas
と
of the
ころへ避
Ishikawa
難をしてくださ
prefecture.
い。
We are
大津波警
predicting
報を
a
発表しています。
huge tsunami
大津波警
arriving in
報
the
を
city
石
at
川県能登に
7
発表
p.m.
しています。
tonight. We are
大きな津
announcing
波
a
を観
huge
測中です。
tsunami
沿岸部
hitting
や
the city,
川沿いにいる人は
arriving
すぐ
very
に高いところ
immediately.
へ避難
That's
して
the
ください。
reason why we are calling for the local
もう一度言いま
citizens
す。
near side the coastal
大津
area.
波警報を
Please
発表してい
find
ます。
the high
大津
places.
波警報を石川県
I'm
能登
going
に
to
発表し
repeat
ています。
that we believe a
大きな
huge
津波を
tsunami
観測中
is
です。
arriving
沿
in
岸
the
部や
coastal area
川
of the
沿いにいる
nodal
人は
areas.
すぐ
For
に
those
高い
of
と
the
ころへ避
citizens
難してくだ
who
さい。
are working alongside the roofs or who
次
are
お願いし
on
ます。
those, please find the
この地
high
震で震
places.
度7を観測しています。
We
震度7は
predicted the
石川県
earthquake
です。
is
揺れ
having
の
a
強かった地域
magnitude
では
of 7.
家の倒壊や土砂災害の危険があります。
We are
今後の
predicting
地震
there
や
are
雨に
aftershocks
十
and
分注意
possible
して
landslides
危険な場
after
所
the
に入らない
earthquake.
でください。
And we are calling for the local
1週
citizens
間
to
程
find the
度
high places
特
for
に
tonight.
今後 2,3 日の間最大震度7程度の地震に注意してください。
We
震度
believe
7を
today's
石川県で
earthquakes
観測しています。
largest
揺れの強かった地域
magnitude
では
occurred
家
at
の倒
4
壊や
p.m.
土砂災
this
害の危
afternoon,
険があります。
and at
今後の地
a
震や雨に
magnitude of
十分
7,
注意してくだ
we
さい。
are predicting
危
the
険な場所に
aftershocks,
は入らないでく
tsunamis,
ださ
and
い。
possible landslides. We are
1週
calling
間
for the
程度
local citizens and
特に
residents.
今後 2,3 日
Please
の
find
間
the high
最大震度
places
7程度
for
の地震
tonight.
に注意してください。
We are believing there's a possibilities for the
津波
aftershocks
警
to
報等の発表
reaching
状況です。
magnitude 7. This is the information
こちら
announcement
地図
for
にあ
the
りますよう
possible
に津波
tsunami.
警報
So I am
大津波
actually
警報、津
pointing
波
out
警報、
all the
津波
coastal
注意
area
報を
of
広い
the
範囲で発表
tsunami
しています。
cities for the red prefectures
大津
that
波
I
警
am
報は石川県
looking
能登、
for. These are
津
a
波警報
possibility
は山
where
形県、新潟
in the
県、
Yamakata
上中、
prefecture,
下越、
Niigata
佐渡、
prefecture,
富山県、
Sado,
石川
Oyama
県、香川、
prefecture,
福井県、
Ishikawa
兵
prefecture,
庫県北部
Fukui
に発表して
prefecture.
います。また、
We are
津波注
predicting
意
a
報を
tsunami
北
of
海道太平洋沿岸西部、
over 3 meters, and we are also alarming the western part of the Pacific Ocean of the Hokkaido, the northern part of the Pacific Ocean, Hokkaido, and also the south part of Hokkaido,
島
the
根県、
coastal area
出雲以
of
外、
Aomori, and also
山
the
口
coastal
県、
areas
本
of the
海沿岸、
Kyoto
福岡県、日本
and
海
the
沿岸、
Fukuoka
佐賀県
coastal
北部、
areas,
壱
as
岐、
well as
対
the
馬に
Saka
発表してい
prefecture's
ます。
north part. There's going to be a
津波の観測
possibility
状
that the
況です。
tsunami is going to hit the local area.
観測点名、輪島港、予報区、石川県能登ですが、こちらで、高さ 1.2 メートル以上、富山では
We believe
0.8メートル、
these times
その他
in this area,
こち
the
らにあり
tsunami
ま
is
す
going
通
to
り
be above
津波
2
を観
meters.
測しております。現在、津
These
波を
are
観
the
測中です。
predicted height of the tsunami arriving at the different prefectures tonight.
こちら津波の波形図になります。
This is what we are predicting for the tsunami tonight.
というのが
This is the shape of the tsunami we are predicting
こ
tonight.
ちらですね。こちらなんですが、
This is the point where it is going to be arriving at 1.2 meters, and after that it is going to hit a plateau. Currently, we are not sure about the latest data of this time's tsunami because the local prefecture has been dipped in the 1.2 tsunami's flood. At the same time, we are also seeing that in the Ishikawa prefecture there is also not too much the information comes. These are some of the briefings towards these times of the earthquakes. The earthquake is happening at 10 past 4 on January the 1st. The magnitude is 7.6, and the area is the nodal area of the Ishikawa prefectures. And the earthquake is occurring. We believe that there are several different aftershocks, and there are 19 times of the aftershocks at magnitude 7.1, and there are 3 times of the magnitude 5, and 1 times of the weak magnitude 5, and 8 times of the magnitude 4. These are the prevention and measures that we are calling for the citizens to. And since we are predicting and observing a huge tsunami on its way, there's a possibility for the potential disaster occurs on the tsunami. We are calling for the citizens who are living alongside the local cities area. Please find a safe place. Please find a high place for tonight, unless we are removing the alarm. Before that, please find the safe place and the high place for tonight. And please do not stand in the dangerous areas or the places. This is what we are predicting for tonight. Generally speaking, after a huge earthquake, there are so many secondary disasters. And we believe after 1 week of a huge earthquake, there is a possibility for the aftershocks to reach above magnitude 7 for these areas. This is also a very active area after the earthquake. And we are looking for the local citizens. Please keep an eye on the aftershocks. These are some of the predicted distribution maps for the earthquakes. And these purple areas is actually where we are predicting the magnitude 7 earthquake is going to be occurred in the upcoming days. These are our long-term predictions for the changes in the underground plateaus. And these are the latest information for the emergency earthquake. And these are some of the mechanisms for these earthquakes. And we believe the earthquake is moving from the northwest directions to the southeast direction. And this is the point where we are observing that we are monitoring a magnitude of 7 earthquake occurred. This is the epicenter of this time's earthquake. And this is what we have monitored for this point for the previous 3 years. So please turn to the next page. This is the area where the magnitude 7 earthquake occurred, and this is what we have obtained from the earthquake this time. At 18 past 4, a severe earthquake was occurred in the nearby area. These are the detailed prediction about the aftershocks. So at 10 past 4 this afternoon, we are monitoring a magnitude of 7 earthquake occurred in the Nodo prefectures, and these are some of the latest number about the aftershocks.
今回の地震の周辺の過去の地震活動ですが、2007
These are some of the previous histories about the earthquake
能登半
occurred.
島地震が起きているんですが、その地震はこのここの辺りです。今回
And the earthquake was occurring in these areas, and these are some of the data that we had in the previous 3 years.
はい、資料の説明は以上になります。
So I believe I finished my briefing today, and I give you an introduction toward what is at my hand. And now we are open up to questions. I also need to say something that I also need to supplement something.
この石川県能登地方で発生している一連の活動について命名として名称を令和6年能登半島地震と定めました。
I believe that we have give you the
一連の地震活動についてその名称を令和6年能登半島地震と定めました。
currently we are naming this earthquake as the Nodo Peninsula earthquake at the 6th year of level time. So I'm with NHK. I have some of the questions. I believe there is a power breakdown occurring on the site. This is going to be the dark time for the local inhabitants. So what kind of measures could be taken to help them? I think it's very dangerous right now, since there's a power breakout during the night. I am calling for the local citizens to find some of the safe places and keep an eye on what is happening nearby. But we are not sure how to teach the local citizens to find or making sure whether the place is safe or not. But you should always pay attention to your surrounding environment. A magnitude of a 7 earthquake was occurring first, and then we are seeing several different aftershocks reaching a very huge magnitude. What is the reason behind it? I think that we are in a very activated time for the earthquake. I am actually looked into the data which was occurring in the previous 3 years, but I believe right now we are in an active period for the earthquakes. There's going to be several different aftershocks, which is going to be rocking the local area. Yes, we are in an active period for earthquakes. I believe after today, in the upcoming 7 days, there's going to be several different types of the aftershocks. We are also calling for the local citizens. Please pay attention to the aftershocks. Definitely, you have some of the wordings, including please be stay away from the coastal area. We have some of the local government and the local prefectural government helping the citizens to be away from the coastal areas. If we would sum it up in one sentence, that is to say, please find a safe area to hide tonight. I'm with Yasubi Television.
波形が見られていますけれども、湾の形状などで今震源から近い湾以外で、大きな増幅するような地域というのはあるのか、またそういった遠いところの湾にお住まいの方に注意があればお聞かせください。
So if the citizens want to take up their things and also run away from a very distant areas, like if they are
変化が出ているところがあります。一方今まで出ていなくても、
So what can we do to predict what is happening tonight? I believe that we have this graph of the tsunami waves. This we are going to have the data upcoming at our hand. And we are going to give you the latest information about the tsunami tonight. We are calling for the local citizens to find some of the safe places and the safe havens.
年末年始で帰省される方も多くいると思います。避難所の収容人数をオーバーすることも考えられますが、そういった場合などですね、避難所が埋まっている場合どういったところに逃げるべきなのかなど、また改めて
So I have some of the questions. Currently, every citizen in the Ishikawa city is actually arriving at the safe haves at the city, and I'm not sure about how many people is actually centered in that safe place. So what is your suggestion for those of the people who don't have the time to arrive at the city's designated areas? I am suggesting them to find a safe place, find a high place, and I believe after tonight there's not going to be any we are going to start the emergency rescue work or relief work. I'm with Japanese television. This time's epicenter, is it in the middle of the sea or is it on the land? I think for this time's epicenter, it's not far away from the coastal area. Let me find you the data about it. And by the way, this is the closest point.
震の地名としてはたまたま分かれてしまうんですが、この能登半島の地震はもともと海域も含めて活動がありましたので、その
I believe for this point of the nodal area, it is already sitting on the activated areas of the plate, where the two plates join each other. So what is your outlook for this time's tsunami? I have read some of the data tonight. And we are also seeing a 1.2 meter tsunami tonight. We are not sure about what is happening. And there are several different situations. We are not going to be sure what is happening tonight. The information, could you give us more details about the tsunami which is occurring tonight? And I believe here we have some of the misinformations or inadequate informations because the local power stations suspended their operation and there is a power breakout locally speaking. That's the reason why we cannot have the latest data locally speaking. So where are we now? I believe it is where we are here.
日本放送畑中と申しますが、今回の地震元日に起きたということで、発生直後はおそらく初詣に行かれている方も多かったと思いますし、先ほど少しありましたけれども、ご家族あるいは親族とも集まったりとか、普段とは違う過ごし方をされている方も多いと思うんですが、そういう方々への何か呼びかけがありましたらお願いできますか。
So because we have some of the disabled people at their homes and we also have some of the vulnerable people such as the elderly people who's living alongside the coastal areas, what is our measures to taken in order to help them to get away from this time's tsunami? I think that you should contact the local government And in order to figure out the local safe haven, definitely there are some of the anxieties. But I believe if we are trying to spend some of the times making sure and confirming what is happening, this is a waste of time. I'm calling for everybody to stay away from their homes and also trying to find the high places first. I believe this time's earthquake is affecting the sea and it's also affecting the coastal area. So we are not sure about the epicenter so far. Is the epicenter sitting on the sea or is the epicenter on the land? I believe the epicenter is here. At the I believe it's something. I'm not sure about where the epicenter is right now. I believe the earthquake started from here, but we are not sure about where the epicenter is so far. And I believe that if this earthquake's epicenter is on the land, there's going to be a larger shock. So what is the reasons for this time's tsunami? Yes, we are announcing a very huge alarming for the tsunami this time. For this time's tsunami, for this time's earthquake, are there any discontinuity at the seabeds? Sorry, I'm not sure yet. We have no footage from the sea. We have no data from the sea yet. Definitely, I have looked at the histories of the nodal areas of the Ishikawa prefecture. What is the biggest earthquake occurred locally in the history? This is the first time we have observed the magnitude 7 earthquake occurred in the Ishikawa prefecture. I also need to look into the historic data. I am with Kyoto News Agency. You mentioned that at the local seabeds, there were several different rounds of the earthquake occurred in the previous 3 years. Yes, the previous 3 years is also a very active period for the Ishikawa prefecture to witness several different rounds of the earthquakes. Currently, I believe this is within the scope of the earthquake. For a magnitude earthquake like this time, we are not sure about the reasons for the special types of the earthquake. I believe there is a spreading of the plates, and this is also a very huge earthquake.
毎日新聞の島袋です。大津波警報を発表されるのは、東北地方太平洋地震以来となるかと思うんですけども、その大津波警報の危険性というのを改めて、どういったものがあるか教えてください。
So could you please give us some of these potential dangerous consequences of this time's tsunami? I believe that for the huge tsunami, the image is very different. I believe if you look into the tsunami, the waves is going to be keep in a certain height, and the waves and the water is going to keep one wave after another, and the water level is going to be on a very horizontal level. And also, the water is going to take everything at its height.
300回以上、震度1以上の地震が起きているというふうに当時表現されてましたけども、ここ最近の震度1以上の地震がどのぐらい観測されてたかとか、その辺の情報あれば教えてください。
So could you please give us the informations, including there are some of these latest earthquake occurred in the previous 3 years in the Ishikawa city. Let me announce you some of the data. In the previous 3 years, there are 640 times of the earthquake, rocking the local seabeds and the local lands. But the magnitude is not as severe as we are witnessing tonight. But I also believe that the frequencies of the earthquake increases in the previous 3 years. I believe since this afternoon, during the earthquakes, aftershocks of 9 occurred in the previous days. After the earthquakes, there are 1 times of the aftershock which is surpassing magnitude 7, 3 times of the aftershocks which is surpassing the magnitude of 6, and 5 times of the aftershocks which is occurring after the magnitude of 5. Thank you so much. I'm Niyada with Nikkei News.
2、3日は同じ規模の地震に注意ということで、到達までの速度が今回早かったなという印象があるんですけども、
I think this time tsunami it is arriving very quickly. It's not following the general patterns or the image of the previous tsunami. So what is the potential areas that we should pay attention to? So previously we have the discussions where the epicenter is on the land or in the middle of the sea. I'm going to say that we are not sure about this. We have not figured out the epicenter for this time so far. That's the reason why we are not sure about the epicenters. We are only going to figure out the starting point when the earthquake occurred. I believe there are so many different possibilities, and we could only call for the local citizens to predict themselves. And I think that actually the different times of the tsunami is a case-by-case situations. I cannot give you a description of this time's tsunami based on the previous tsunami situation. So that's the reason why we can only send in the alarms, and we are not going to predict what is happening this time.
地下の流体が関係しているとおっしゃる方もいらっしゃると思うんですけども、そこら辺この群発地震群発地震と言えないかもしれないですけども、一連の地震に関してですね、気象庁さんとして考えられていることを教えてください。
Could you tell me about what are your predictions for the aftershocks? I think that we are going to designate to the investigation of these times earthquakes into the special earthquake investment authorities of these times. And currently we are in the middle of the golden weeks, where everybody is enjoying the holidays. So how should we start their earthquake investigations? Because some of these staffs in the earthquake bureau is in the middle of the vacation. That's the reason why we need to calling back our staffs and also working on the earthquakes. On the other side, what kind of earthquake, what types of the earthquakes occurs, and what's the reason for these times of earthquakes? We cannot figure this out yet. We have to deliver the information later. A magnitude 7 earthquake is also bringing us this tsunami. Are there any possibilities for us to predict it? Actually, and this is the first time we are observing a magnitude 7 earthquake occurred in the Ishikawa prefecture. But actually, across Japan, in the year 2019, we have experienced a huge earthquake which is surpassing magnitude 7. And this is a very huge earthquake announcement. This is the biggest earthquake since the 2013 Eastern Japan Great Earthquake.
ちょっと今どうでしたっけ。
地震調査委員会が評価をしているような活断層はこの周辺にはない。
We are going to entrust the special investigation team of the Japanese Earthquake Bureau to figure out where the thrust earthquake occurred and where the epicenter is. I believe for this time's earthquake, it is spreading into the wider scopes of the areas than we have seen previously. What is the reason for this large scope of the earthquake?
まず単純に
Yes.
一番大きな震度を観測した地震については、地震の規模が大きかったということになります。
So from my understanding, first and foremost, this is a very huge scale loss earthquake. It is affecting all the eastern coast of the area.
これまでのエリアよりではないところでも発生していますので、そういった
And this is also an area
ところで観測するような地震もあるので、そういった意味もあります。
that we have not predicted the earthquake to occur yet.
ところでも起きたっていうのは、その M7.6 の強い地震が大きな地震が影響して広範囲に影響を与えている。
そこはちょっとわからないですね。
Is it because of the
一般論
magnitude?
としては大きな地震が起きた後、
Generally speaking, after a huge earthquake,
のかかり具合が変化があるので、
the affected area
も
is only limited to the surrounding area, but we are not sure where there's going to be a very huge covered areas for this time's earthquake.
の可能性がある。
はい。
We could only give you a very wide prediction of the affected area.
この日本海の地域は沿岸に近いところで発生することが多いというお話だったと思うんですけど、それはどういう理由からなんでしょうか。
そうですね。例えば
So you have mentioned that the possibilities of the epicenter is alongside the Japanese coastal area.
ここで
Let me give you further explanations.
沈み込んでいるんですね。そういったプレ
I
ートの
think for
海
the
付近で大きな地震が起きて起こる津波というのが多い状況です。で、そういうものは
generally speaking, the earthquake is occurred on the Pacific side of Japan. But I think for this time's earthquake, it is occurring and happening at a point where it is close to the continent. Usually this is happened. Usually this was happened. This was happened on the other side of the continent. But generally, for this time, it's occurring on the other side of Japan. I think because the sea of this area is squeezed between the different lands, that is going to mean huger impact compared with the previous earthquake occurred on the Pacific area of Japan.
これは陸域であっても海底の何が動くっていうふうに。
So what is occurring on the sea's beds? From this graph,
だけで起きているという、ちょっと誤解を受けてしまうんですが、これは断層の動き始めです。で、マグニチュード7とかになると断層域とかが30キロとか4、50キロとかそういうふうな、
I believe if a magnitude 7 earthquake occurred, it is going to be spreading for a distance of over 30 kilometers to 50 kilometers. So when this earthquake occurred, and there's going to be a lot of thrust activities occurring and seen at the seabeds. I believe there are some of the ups and downs of the seabeds. And through the ups and downs of the seabeds, this is where the sources of the tsunami occurred. For example, when the seabed rises, this is going to be pushing the water upward. And it's also going to turbulent the water from the bottom. And if the seabed declined immediately, this is also going to be affecting the water levels in the sea. So this kind of a upward and downward movement from the seabed is affecting the upward and downward movement of the water. That's the reason why we are seeing such a turbulence of the tsunami occur. This is the principle. This is the basic principles of this time's tsunami.
地震の規模が大きくかつ陸域に近いところでの発生だったからというそういう理解でよろしいですか。
そうですね。津波警報はこの場所でこういう地震が発生したらどういう津波が発生するのかというのを事前にいろんなパターンで計算しておきます。
Generally speaking, if there are some of the earthquake occurred, we have several different prediction models for the afterwards tsunami, and then we piled up the data and then we predicted the potential types of the tsunami. Then we have the result about the predictions of the height of the tsunami.
地震であっても海に影響するということとつながるかと思うんですけど、これ今回広域に津波が影響が及んでいると思うんですけれども、そこも同じようなメカニズムで説明される。そうですね。マグニチュードがやはり大きな地震ですので、それだけ海底が大きく動いている可能性がある。で、そのためその
I think there are two reasons for the potential occurrence of these times of the tsunami. One is that the epicenter is happened alongside the sea line, and there are huge upward and downward movements of the seabed. That's the reason why we are predicting a very huge tsunami on its way. And through the essence, this is a very huge earthquake this time. What are the potential risks? First and foremost, for this area, this is a very accurate area for the earthquake. There are affections about the seabeds. We are calling for the citizens to pay attention to the earthquake. And in the Japanese Sea, there's also a possibility for a huge earthquake to occur.
今回震度7という大きな地震でしたけども、内陸部の活断層への影響だとか。
So for this time's magnitude 7.6 earthquake occurred, what is going to be affection? What is going to be the afterward influence on the land? I'm not sure about it. Generally speaking, I think when a huge earthquake occurred, there is a shift of the balance underground. But currently, I'm not sure about what is happening underground.
読売新聞の大原と申します。先ほど大津波警報が出たのは東日本大震災以来ということでしたけども、何回目とかっていう言い方はできるんでしょうか。
This is the hugest tsunami warning after the Eastern Japan Great Earthquake.
そうですね。どこ以来、
つまり東日本大震災以前で。
So what is the previous historical record before the 2013 Eastern Japan Great Earthquake?
東日本大震災が2011年なんですが、その1年前、2010年の2月27か8だったと思うんですが、チリ中部沿岸で大きな津波がありまして、その際に大津波警報を出しております。
I believe that 1 year before the Eastern Japan Great Earthquake, on 2010 February, there was a huge tsunami occurred in the country of Chile. That is also a similar type of the earthquake triggered by it.
若干内陸部に住まわれている方への呼びかけを伺いたいと思っております。でもため池が決壊したりとか、河川が増水したりとかいう水害の可能性もあるかと思いますので、どういった避難、呼びかけをされているんでしょうか。
So you are calling for the coastal citizens to stay away from the coastal areas and find some of the high places. What is the precautious actions should be taken by the citizens living along the away from the tsunami from the coastal areas? We believe for those who is not living in the most severely affected areas or warned areas, we believe there's a possibilities for the landslides, or there are some of the possibilities for the aftershocks. We are not sure what is going to be happened afterward. I think there are some of the areas which is going to be affected hugely by the aftershocks. Currently, there's one type of the aftershocks occurs after the magnitude 7. We believe that this is a very huge times of the earthquake. And for these areas, especially for these above mentioned areas, these kind of active earthquake areas occurred in the previous 3 years. That's the reason why we should pay attention to it. I am Modosuke with TBS. You have mentioned that this is an active area for the earthquake. Could you give us more information about huge earthquake occurred alongside the route? Yes, this is what was happening at 18 past 4. This is a magnitude 4 earthquake occurred. Afterward, at 7 past 16, there are some of the earthquakes, and these are some of these activities. At 18 past 16, the earthquake occurred here. These are some of the activities occurred. But for these kind of activities, let me look at some of the documents, some of these historical data. This is a magnitude of 7.7 earthquakes. I think the red areas is the areas where the earthquake are distant from the predicted area. Thank you so much. Let me shift it to the topic of the tsunami. This is a tsunami occurred on the side of the Japanese Sea. So what is the specific features of this time's tsunami compared with the tsunami occurred on the Pacific side of the Japan? Currently, I don't have some of the concrete data. That's the reason why I cannot give you some of the answers. But generally speaking, this is an earthquake occurring on the areas where it is reaching the continental side. There are some of the tsunamis occurring on the distant areas, but I believe for the different types of the tsunami, it also have some of the different afterward impact. Thank you. I'm with Japanese economic news. What is the weather forecast for the affected area in the earthquake? Could you give us more detailed information about the weather conditions and also the temperature in the earthquake hit area? Let me give you some of the information. Right now, the local weather, I would say it is clouded, but it's at night.
て次第に収まっていったところです。ただ3日は日本付近を、通過する低気圧の影響で雨や雪の降るところがありますが、警報級の大雨、大雪、暴風、高波となる見込みはありません。ただ今後気象台から発表される
we are not predicting any snow or extreme weathers occurs tomorrow, and we believe tomorrow it is going to be a sunny and cloudy a cloudy day. And we are also calling for the local citizens, and if there are somebody after earthquake relief work, the weather is not going to.
わかりました。
ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
テレビ朝日の島田と申します。
With Asahi News.
海域に近いところでというところで、今後の話で恐縮なんですが、津波警報等が解除された場合ですね、どういった行動が必要なのか、すぐ津波が来るということなので、どういうふうに備えればいいんでしょうか。
So the tsunami is on its way right now.
ですね。についてまだ先のことはわからないではあるんですけど、過去の例でいうとこういった活発な地震があったときに。
And this is also a very activated areas. For I believe that this is going to be a very activated times for the earthquakes.
そういった活動に注意していただく。例えば、
and we are calling for the local citizens.
今回避難されていると思いますけど、改めて
And definitely for these times, please find some of the sheltered areas. We are not sure about what is going to happen later. We are going to confirm the upcoming information. As long as the information is arriving at our hand, we are going to spread the information. There are several different ones of this emergency information, but we are not sure about what is happening yet. But definitely, we are still under the monitoring situation. We cannot give you the latest information about what is happening at the bottom of the sea.
先ほどからの海か陸かというところでちょっと細かくて恐縮なんですけれども、
Sorry, I did not figure out what is happening at the sea and what is happening on land.
その震央はどちらかというのはあまり重要ではないというお話だったんですけれども、そこから伸びる地震を起こした断層というのは海側に少なくともかかっているという理解でいいんでしょうか。
そうですね。その海底を動かすような断層の動きをしたというのが正しいかな。
I believe this is a thrust earthquake at the bottom of the sea. But I'm not sure about the concrete exact types of the earthquake after it. Definitely, there are some of the activities occurred on the seabed. So that there are two plates, one went after another, and the other plates went upward. And for example, if one plate went downward, and if one plate went upward, and they have encountered any obstacles, and this is also going to create the influence or thrust on the bottom of the sea. I'm not sure about what is happening at the bottom of the sea yet, but generally speaking, it follows this principle. In terms of the magnitude, is it a large earthquake? Yes.
今回のその M7.6 とか 5.7 があったような沿岸の活動を前提にすると、大体どのぐらいの規模になると大津波警報レベルになるというふうに考えられるのか、警報注意報も含めて。
So do you believe that for this time's magnitude 7.6 earthquake, is it going to be a very large tsunami occurred? What should I say? Is it possibility? Are there any possibilities that we are going to revise the magnitude from 7.6 to 7.5? How should I say about it? There are some of the possibilities, but based on these areas, there are some of the possibilities for the misfiguring or mistestings about the magnitude, but definitely at this time we are going to follow the principles where we are going to try to make sure the citizens is going to be is in the highest area.
3分目安で発表しますので、まずはそれで行動していただければと思います。
First, we need to broadcasting the alarming information. You all mentioned that there was a very activated earthquakes occurring one after another in the previous 3 years. This is also a very rare case, right, in the histories of the earthquakes. So what is your interpretation toward it?
これ過去にこの3年前から始まった時も
Generally speaking, I believe these rounds of the earthquakes occurred 3 years ago. But I would say that at the beginning, there's not too much earthquake occurred. And the magnitude of the earthquake is not as severe. Actually, the frequency and the magnitude increases with the time during the previous 3 years. Let me give you some of the examples. There was a huge earthquake occurred in May. Definitely.
11月とかは10回程度とかなんですね。で、10回っていうのは普通の地域にとっては非常に大きな数です。震度1以上月に10回以上揺れを感じるっていうのはやっぱり、多いんですけど、その5月直後の、さらに多い数に比べれば減ってはいたんですね。でも、今回また大きな地震が発生しましたので、なかなかこう、数が減ったからってどうなるかってところはわからないし、過去例を考えると
We are not sure about the frequencies of the aftershocks because we believe at
10回というのは少ない方になってきていたということですか。
少ない方、5月の地震活動の発生する前ぐらいの状態ですね。
I would say that starting from May this year, the frequencies of these earthquakes occurring in this area increased time by time. And this is what I said about the previous 3 years earthquakes. Generally speaking, starting from May this year, these areas becoming activated than the previous years.
読売新聞の昼川と申します。今冬の時期というか先ほど気温が
This is the winter times. The temperature is quite cold.
ということでそれも踏まえた防災上の注意点と改めてお聞かせ。
So are there any potential tips for those of the people who is trying to get away from tsunami these times? I believe there is not going to be possibilities that there are some of the heating facilities in the safe havens. I suggest the citizens to bring some of the heated equipment with them and prepare some of this warming equipment with them. For example, the tanned paper and also the plastic plate in order to keep them warm.
的に言うとどんな監視状況が確認できれば解除されるものなのかというところと、あと参考情報で東日本大震災の時はどのくらいの期間大津波警報が出されていたのかというのが分か
Do you still remember what has happened during the Eastern Japan Great Earthquake? What is the time discrepancies between the earthquake and the occurring of a tsunami? I believe each time the earthquake-induced tsunami have its own patterns, and there are some of the changes of the upwards and downwards. And I remembered that during the Eastern Japan Great Earthquake, after 2 days of the earthquake, tsunami hit the coastal area. I think that generally speaking, after 3 days after the Eastern Japan Great Earthquake, tsunami hit the a coastal area, and the following up 3 days. It's not 2 days.
はい、ちょっとそこまでは今後で回答させてください。
再びすみません、下の毎日吉山です。すみません、ちょっと特定のエリアのことで恐縮ですが、長周期地震動ですけども、沿岸部でなくこの長野県中部でもこの階級3という高かったというのは、これはどんなメカニズムというか理由なんでしょうか。
そうですね、長周期地震動階級というのはその長い揺れの、波が、その地域で観測されているということになります。で、大きな
So what is the magnitude for the Yamagata ken and also the coastal areas alongside the Yamagata prefecture? I think we are not sure about what is happening locally speaking. The information is not at our hand right now. But generally speaking, the local technical tectonic prefecture, the local tectonic condition is very, I would say, soft and weak. I believe that it is not very helpful after these times of the earthquake and tsunami. So that's the reason why I'm also calling for the local citizens in the Yamagata prefecture to keep a close attention to the earthquake.
今回の地震、マグニチュード 7.6 が能登半島地方で最大規模かというご発信もいただきました。地震カタログのある1885年以降、今回の M7.6 というのは最大になります。以上です。
This is a magnitude. This is a confirmed magnitude 7.6 earthquake occurred in the northern areas. And thank you so much for your questions. These are the presses with the Japanese Earthquake Agency. Thank you. Japanese citizens and national people, and we are always going to be people-centered in the governmental policies. First and foremost, we are going to keep a close eye about the aftershocks of this time's earthquake. And we are also going to predict the upcoming tsunami. I believe that we should measures or actions towards the upcoming tsunamis. The tsunami might be coming at any moment. This is what I'm going to say to our citizens, and please pay attention. Thank you.